You just heard some of those sound bites from Sarah's panel. I want to get your take on what you heard.
I thought that was fascinating, Frank, because you could see both really driving their own agenda. So let's start with Larry Fink. Certainly wants to make sure that he's giving Donald Trump credit for a deregulatory agenda, credit for kind of building things in the United States. But what does he want? He wants less regulation. He wants the ability for private credit to be unleashed. There's certainly a part of that agenda that Donald Trump is pursuing. And when I talk to folks in and around Team Trump, they tell me the thing that he wants the most is things to be built in the United States. And we're certainly seeing that. And when we look at bank regulation, taking off the reins of banks and on private credit through the deregulatory push that we're largely going to see through the courts is absolutely in his purview. Now we go over to Christine Lagarde. Europe really did not like the Inflation Reduction Act because it was a challenge to the European industrial base. I think they kind of like the fact that the IRA is under attack by the Trump presidency. I'll let you into something. I don't think it's going away. I think that she is overstating that, but it's almost a catch-up call from the Europeans trying to kind of say, hey, maybe you shouldn't be building that industrial base in the United States, stay in Europe, come back home. It was a huge competitive advantage for the United States, and that's part of the reason why I think it remains, Frank.
So, Ed, do me a favor. Can you translate this part of what Christine Lagarde had to say? She talked about, the IRA basically being repealed in her mind. I know you said it's not going anywhere, but she said that foreign companies will have to invest through a prism of confidence and cost. I wasn't quite sure what she meant by that. Did you get a sense of what that meant?
Yeah, I think the confidence is we are going to have a conversation here in Washington, D.C. on what portions of the Inflation Reduction Act might get changed. And so she is almost sending a warning to those companies who have announced massive investments in the United States. Do you have the confidence that those dollars are going to be there? What is the cost going to be if Donald Trump enacts other policies that she would say are potentially inflationary? It really is a classic example of talking your own book.
Ed, stand by. We want to play a soundbite from the president of Singapore that just happened a second ago.
If there was one real positive coming out of President Trump's speech yesterday evening here at the forum, it was the way he spoke about China and the US. It suggested a desire for a new understanding and a desire to avoid a continuous unraveling of a relationship that is still profoundly important for the global world economy.
Ed, your reaction to this? That's, again, the president of Singapore commenting on the U.S.-China dynamic relationship, however you want to describe it.
Yeah, so Frank, at Raymond James, one of the questions we've gotten the most is, are we going to get day one tariffs on China? We didn't receive them. The comments that he's referring to last night, Donald Trump said he wants to have a good relationship with China, essentially, that he will put tariffs on, he will ratchet those tariffs up. The United States has the advantage in this relationship as it relates to tariffs, but it's not something that he wants to do. He just wants it to be fair. There is that reciprocal kind of fairness that Donald Trump talks about. If you are a leader of a country within Asia, do you want a massive fissure between the world's #1 and #2 economy? No. Do you like the comments that Donald Trump said last night? Yes. Does that mean we're going to avoid a fight? Absolutely not. We're still base case going to have a fight with China. It's just kind of laying the groundwork, warming it up before he starts getting more aggressive, because I don't think China's going to be willing to go as far as Donald Trump wants to go without that fight.
You know, I had one quick question. We do have to go after this. You're talking about tensions between the U.S. and China. If you're a leader of an Asian nation, that you don't want those tensions to happen. But we have seen a shift in supply chains and dollars going to other Asian countries like Vietnam, South Asia, India. Why would they want the U.S. and China to have a very solid relationship? Wouldn't they want some of those tensions to still continue and perhaps lead to more capital flowing to their countries?
Yeah, two things. Number one, at Vietnam, watch for a push on a currency kind of manipulation charge and tariffs that are specifically on Vietnam. That's an underappreciated risk here. And with India, when I talk to folks on Trump teams, they say we hate India because of how high their tariffs are, but we love India because of how high their tariffs are. A free trade agreement with India is something Donald Trump would love to do in his first term, opening up the market of 1 billion+ people of U.S. companies at very low tariff rates.